Hey guys, what is going on? So I wanted to talk about Nucleus overload training and if it works or if it doesn't. So I'm doing it right now. I've been doing it for about 6 weeks or so, and so far it does seem to be working. I've also done similar things in the past with knowing what Nucleus overload was in mind, but not necessarily trying to apply it directly. And looking back on my history and the way that I used to train, it does seem like it works, but that's, looking in hindsight and not actually, having any type of experiments or anything. So right now I'm undergoing, Nucleus overload training, and I'm going to continue to update. But what I really want to talk about is the debate between Migan, who kind of coined the term Nucleus overload from Team 3D Alpha, and Greg Doucette. So Greg Doucette made a video. He got a bunch of people commenting, asking to make a video about Nucleus overload. My understanding is Greg doesn't fully understand what it is. Like, he has a very basic grasp on it, but not enough to actually know like the claims that Migan is making, right? So that's kind of the first thing. But he made a little 10-minute video talking about how, it's BS and it doesn't work. And Migan responded with like a 50-minute video going over all these studies, right? And only one of the studies was really showing Nucleus overload kind of in its full effect in action. And I don't think Greg even watched to that point in the video. He basically just, as Migan was talking about the studies, Greg found a part in the study that didn't support Migan's claim and shows how, oh, this guy is so stupid because he, didn't even read the study. And it's so unbelievable that and I get it that Greg is, he makes all these videos every day. He has all these people asking questions to him. He has clients and everything. He has a lot of stuff going on. So he probably just saw this thing, thought it sounded stupid, did a little bit of research, and then found that he still thought it was stupid. And then he's like, okay, this is dumb. And so he basically reads the studies up to a point where he finds something that doesn't fit with what Migan is saying. And then he just dismisses the entire study, right? Where Migan is taking certain evidence from each study to kind of build this big picture on why Nucleus overload works. And those are just some examples, right? He has a bunch of other studies. He has an entire channel basically dedicated to this whole thing. So I would recommend, watching Migan's full video, pausing and reading the studies and seeing what Migan is talking about for each study, as opposed to listening to Greg. And Greg is not giving him a fair chance. Now, I'm not saying that Migan is right and Greg is wrong, or vice versa. All I'm saying is that Greg is not actually listening to what Migan is saying. He really, Migan talks about confirmation bias. I really think that Greg, it's not necessarily that as much as it is just him not giving it the full time of day. If he really took the full time to just pretend for 50 minutes that you agree with Migan and he's just going over this stuff, and then at the end of the video you can make a decision. That's the way that I see it, is he presents the information there. I believe he's going to be doing another video talking about Greg's response to Migan's response, but I don't know, it's probably going to go back and forth. They're probably going to disagree. And I just think, please just go over to Migan's channel, absorb some of the information and make a decision for yourself. Don't just go off what Greg is saying. Literally, so many of Greg's subscribers came over to Migan's video and says, Migan's not even reading the stuff. He's a fraud and everything like that. And it's you guys are literally listening to Greg get to a point in the evidence that shows that it doesn't support Migan's claim, even though it does, and then not reading the study. So you're claiming that Migan's not reading the study, when in fact Greg is reading up to the point and then not continuing to read the study, and the fans aren't reading any of it. They're just listening to what Greg is saying. And it's just, I don't know. And again, I'm not saying that Migan is right, okay? I'm just saying that the studies that he shows do suggest what he's trying to say, right? We can't prove that it's correct, right? We don't have a ton of studies to show. You can't really prove anything in science. There's just evidence that supports it. And the studies that he shows do support his claims. I'm not saying that Nucleus overload works. I'm saying that if you read the studies, there are aspects to it that support what Migan's trying to say. That's all I'm saying. And I thought that all the information that Migan has provided, not just in that video, but in every video, everything that he talks about, it seems like it works. It seems like there's enough evidence to support it, and so therefore I'm trying it. Now, where am I at personally with Nucleus overload? I started doing it about 6 weeks ago, and The only thing I'm measuring my strength as well as my arm size. Those are the only things. And I also have a body scanner where I track my measurements and stuff. But I haven't taken a body scan since I've started, so I don't know about that. But I'm going to continue to do it month after month to see what happens. But basically, I've been lifting for quite a few years on and off, but I've been lifting on and off for over a decade. And my gains have slowed down significantly. I've mostly done strength training, right? So not a bunch of bodybuilding. So obviously, there's still gains to be made. My arms were only 16 1/4 inches. So not huge arms. I didn't really work my arms that much. Again, I was more focused on strength training. I got my bench up to 355, overhead press up to 245. So pretty strong, but not that big, right? Like big enough, but you know, my gains were slow in terms of muscle gaining. But then again, I wasn't really focusing on gaining muscle. I started doing this 6 weeks ago. And given, you know, my muscles are probably swelling, but now my arms measure at 17 1/2. So over an inch gain. And again, swelling is probably a factor, but it's only been 6 weeks, right? So I would like to think that at least some of that is, you know, muscle gain. Generally just looking in the mirror, I feel like I'm bigger, but I'm not going to say anything like that until I actually get measurements and do the body scans and everything like that. In terms of strength, my strength has gone down. Usually this happens when I stop, you know, strength training, which is not what I'm doing. I'm more so trying to build muscle, but it's gone down even more than I would have expected. So I think that's something that I was kind of thinking would happen. I just didn't think it would happen to this significant of a degree. So that's what's happening so far. Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just going to continue to update, but I would just please recommend that if you're going to make a decision on this one way or another, you can dismiss it and you can say, I don't really think it works. But to attack Migan personally because you didn't want to read what he was saying or listen to what he was saying is very immature, I think, for everybody involved. So please just actually make your own decision, or just, you can dismiss it, but don't just come at Migan for that. I mean, that's just very unfair. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I will keep you updated on any gains or lack of gains that I get over the next coming months, because that's what I'm doing. I'm doing nucleus overload training. Seems to be working in terms of muscle gains, not strength, but again, that's kind of what I expected. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I will keep you updated, and I'll talk to you soon.